Now, in this week's Let's Talk Some Star Wars, we're going to be taking a look at the results of, and your comments from, the poll that asked the question, what do you think about Star Wars Day, or May the 4th be with you? And before we do get to that, let me just quickly say that I don't usually do anything too over the top or special for Star Wars Day. I do love the idea or concept behind it, that it tries to tie the fan base together, if you will, and I always try to celebrate it in at least some capacity. And a couple times, yeah, I've gone a bit above and beyond for the day, though in the past it's usually dependent on what day of the week it falls on and if I had to work on that day or not. This year, because a lot of you have been asking for them, I was going to start my reviews of the original trilogy movies by posting a review of A New Hope. But I had a lot of non-Star Wars things suddenly come up in the last few days that I had to take care of, so I barely got started on it, much less finished. But do look for me to get it posted, hopefully in the next day or two. In fact, the only real Star Wars related thing I even had a chance to do yesterday was to make another Star Wars meme review video with my fiance, which she puts up on her channel. So if you're interested in seeing, shall we say, a different side of me, I'll include a link to it in the comments below. Anyway, let's get to the results of the poll, and they were pretty much exactly what I expected them to be, and only 4% of people said they just didn't like the idea of Star Wars Day at all, with another 13% saying it wasn't their thing, but they had no problem with the fact that others do enjoy it or do something for the day. The majority then was the 65% who thought it was a cool idea, but they really don't do anything for it, with 14% falling into the same category I'd put myself in, those who like the idea and try to celebrate it at least somehow. And finally, there's the 4% who go out of their way to really celebrate the day. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention just how perfectly balanced the results of this poll pretty much were. The only thing that could have been better if that was 66% instead of 65%. Okay, now let's move on to your comments. And as usual, some are handpicked by me, others I included because they were highly rated, and others still are randomly selected so that everyone has a chance to get their comment read. All in all, though, I do aim for a mix of comments, some positive, some not so much, so that a wide variety of views can be heard. But as usual, we will start with the top-rated comment, and this week it came to us from Jim Riven, who said, "It used to be a thing that the fandom could get behind. Now though, well, what is it that they say? Oh, that's right. Let the past die, kill it if you have to." And yes, it is unfortunate that a lot of people are, shall we say, falling out of love with Star Wars these days. But that doesn't mean you have to let your past love for the franchise die. You can still celebrate what you used to love about the franchise, and I think it's the perfect day to do that, to be completely honest with you. Alright, now on to a comment from Luke French, who said, "I didn't ever think it was worth a conversation. It was just a funny joke from school. If Disney wants to use it as a marketing strategy, let them. You don't have to buy anything. Celebrate Star Wars Day if you want. I just remember telling my mate every year whose birthday fell on the 4th, May the 4th be with you. None of the vote options apply to me." And you are right here. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to celebrate the day if you don't want to. Or you can do something simple like just watch the movies, which most people probably own them or have access to them for free anyway. And not to defend Disney here, but Star Wars Day was a thing long before they purchased Lucasfilm, so I don't really have a problem with them taking the quote-unquote holiday and running with it and promoting their product. Any company is going to do that if they have the opportunity to, so again, I really don't have an issue with that side of it. Oh, and Luke also mentioned that he had a friend who had a birthday yesterday, and many of you commented that your birthday was yesterday or you knew somebody whose birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday to all of you. There were also some of you who had a wedding anniversary or were getting married actually yesterday, so congratulations. Also, special birthday wishes to my friend Master Search, who's been with this channel since my subscriber count numbered in the hundreds and not tens of thousands, so thank you, my friend, and I hope you had a great day yesterday. Alright, let's move on to another comment now, this time from Bass Velk, and I hope I said your name somewhat close to correctly, and I know I butcher a lot of names doing these videos. Anyway, they said, "In the Netherlands we commemorate the deaths of all wars over the years, but especially the Second World War on the 4th of May. The Star Wars idea is nice, but because of the National Day, I don't do anything with it." And that sounds a lot like what we call Memorial Day here in the United States, so you have a free pass in the Netherlands for not celebrating it. However, then we move to this comment from Jacob Fisher, who said, "It doesn't mean much because in Australia we say the 4th of May, so it doesn't really work." And I'm sorry, Australians, but being backwards is not a good enough reason to not celebrate Star Wars Day. And I'm joking, I know there's a lot of countries that put the day before the month, and from your point of view, we're the ones who are backwards. Alright, now on to this comment from Jacob Smith, who said, "If by celebrate you mean watch at least one original trilogy film and play Dark Forces 2, then yes, I celebrate May the 4th. And by my standards, that's a good way to celebrate May the 4th. Okay, next up we have a comment from Sadistic Overlord who said, "Really, come on people, it's not stupid. It's an important day for Star Wars fans. It's something special and fun for the fans to enjoy. Nothing stupid about celebrating what you love." I agree. You should always cherish and celebrate and embrace the things that you love and not worry about what other people think. That truly is one of the keys to happiness in life, I feel. Alright, now onto this comment from Sasha Did 911. "I'm performing with my saxophone quartet at a local festival. We're going to play a Star Wars compilation including the main titles, Rey's theme, Imperial March, Han Solo and the Princess, Across the Stars, the end credits. Unfortunately, we have to cut out the rest for time, including Duel of the Fates, but it's going to be great." Sounds awesome, and I hope you had a ton of fun doing it. Only thing is, well, I think there's always time to include Duel of the Fates. But seriously, I think you've given me an idea for my next poll. I'm going to try to figure out what everybody's favorite musical piece is from Star Wars. Is it Duel of the Fates, Binary Sunset, Imperial March, or something else? So hopefully in the next day or two, or maybe by the time you're watching this, I'll have posted a poll asking what's the best music from the prequels to start with. Alright, now onto this comment from JackedBuck76, who said, "I'll celebrate by watching The Empire Strikes Back. I love that movie so much. If it were a woman, I'd marry her." Well, if it were a woman, my friend, you'd have a lot of competition when it comes to marrying her, I think. Next up, this comment from Darth YouTube, who said, "Last year I spoke only in Star Wars quotes all day." Then this comment from Van Staalberg, who said, "I requested the day off from work and will be waking up at 6 a.m. to watch Star Wars The Clone Wars all day." Next up, this comment from Ghost World, who said, "When there's a serious lack of fun, community, and actual goodwill amongst Star Wars fans, we need every feel-good and uniting event that we can get." I agree, and even if you don't like the current state that Star Wars is in, you can always look back and celebrate what it was when you did love it. And the thing with me is, even if Disney just totally destroys this franchise, and I know some of you think they already have, that's never going to change how I feel about the prequels and the original trilogy. Those movies for me are just untouchable. There's nothing Disney can do to ever tarnish how I feel about them. And speaking of the prequels, there's this comment from Revan Winter Soldier who said, "I'm going to put on a 20th anniversary event for episode 1 on May 17th. I would have done it on the 4th, but this will be cool too." Sounds awesome, but it's really so hard to believe The Phantom Menace came out 20 years ago. Alright, now on to our last few comments, starting with this one from Obi-Wan Kenobi who said, "I don't really do anything special. It's just a day to reflect on how thankful I am for Star Wars and all the good it represents. It's a day when I and many other fans can appreciate and remember how much the saga inspires us and fills us with joy. I do notice some external celebrations other people have, like web articles and videos, but in my case, it's just a good time for personal reflection on the saga that means so much to me." Then onto this comment from Victor Jeckert, who said, "First, rest in peace, Peter Mayhew. Second, I say that if people can go crazy and dress up while getting drunk for the Super Bowl with no one raising a fuss, then why can't fans have a day to celebrate one of the greatest sci-fi fantasy franchises in history? The fact that I'm still celebrating May the 4th and Revenge of the 5th, taking into account for what I see as a string of missteps with Battlefront 2, The Last Jedi, Solo, and the negative feedback from certain content creators and their supporters, should be an indicator that this franchise is not dead yet. It will always have a special place in my heart." Then this comment from Francis Staines, who said, "With Star Wars in its current state, what is the point?" And finally, this comment from Richard Jacko, who said, "I used to get excited for it every year as if it was Christmas, but over the last few years, I just stopped getting excited for it. Honestly, my whole anticipation for Star Wars in general has diminished." And in closing here, and to kind of address those final 4 comments that each had slightly different outlooks all at once, even if you don't like what Star Wars has become or is becoming, it shouldn't stop you from enjoying what it once was, from looking back at it with fond remembrance. And don't get me wrong here, I'm certainly not saying you should continue to support it, especially financially, if you don't want to or don't like its current direction. But don't ever let Disney ruin what it once meant to you. Well, that's all I've got for you this time. Now it's your turn to tell me what you think of Star Wars Day, or to list off some choices for best musical piece from the prequels for the poll I'll probably put up sometime tomorrow. Either way, feel free to take to the comments below and let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.